utilized in the game right now and could be used. Only time will tell.
I want to see which team opts to put pressure up on the box. You were talking about this map, and you did a great job of breaking it down. But I want to see how they opt to put the pressure up on there, because you can get too overzealous with it. It's nice to push up and have that pressure, but you have to be careful with it. Ant going to be bringing out the Splattershot Jr., as well as the first roller that we've seen today coming out of Shark Boy.
I am in love with the weapons that they have brought in here. First of all, both teams bringing with them a Tri-Slosher Nouveau, so that makes my heart happy. That's going to be the newest variant of Tri-Slosher that will have the Splat Bomb and the Inkstorm available, so you're going to see rain pretty much consistently throughout these 3 minutes. And you talk about Shark Boy here. That presence here, that one-shot kill potential is a bit mitigated by the fact that the Splattershot Jr. is here, and it will be bringing out that ink armor to their team, so the one-shot kill potential gets taken away if they have that ink armor available. So far, though, Synergy has done a great job of holding it down. I think the ink armor, a big part of that here. They were able to capitalize on that Inkstorm as well to move into mid, and now Naz not looking back as he tries to avoid these missiles.
Jumping right over to the middle here, not a big deal. Shark Boy going to be running in, needs to find a way to get a couple picks here. Does a great job. The roller isn't the best painting weapon, despite what you may have thought. You can run around and do it, but it's just very slow and very linear in doing it. Shark Boy going to have to focus on getting some picks here, but just great positioning around that splashdown, not giving up too much position. We talked about it earlier. These players are able to do a great job of taking a long time to be killed, as we do finally see Ant go down to the combined efforts of the Splattershot Pro and Roller.
And at this point, the strategy of using the rollers, we see a fantastic double kill there. Naz and Tim bunching up right in front of a roller. But we see that Shark Boy isn't utilizing the curling bombs as much as we would normally see. That's because that strategy has been pretty well revealed, and I think a lot of players expect that now when they see a roller come out. They're looking at the curling bombs, seeing if there's any ripples behind the normal ripple of that sub, and making sure that the roller isn't there. Naz now on top of this high ground. They will benefit from the ink armor, so the time to push in is now as we approach the minute point of this game, and it looks like it's paying off here. We haven't seen the kills, but they've gone 2 down. And so Synergy with a chance here to take Surge on in terms of the map control in mid. We see Tim with this Splat Bomb rush not quite built up. I think they used that in their push. He's going to have a chance to build that up again in the last 50 or so seconds.
Let's see how they go here. Cat's going to have to be careful. You see 2 members are going to convert. Cat is able to get a trade, and another trade going down here. It washed at the bottom of the screen. Shark Boy will go down, and Jared is going to have to run all the way back here. Whenever you go with trades like that, you have to understand that the opponent has called it out, right? And you have to have something, some way to get over there and try to take advantage of whatever you've created with that trade. However, Jared being the only one back is going to need to fire these missiles now and opts to do so here. Britbit going to be running up here with the roller. They're putting some pressure on the side here. A great one-on-one kill there by Britbit. Shark Boy going down. This is going to be very close. Are there any specials that can change the tide here?
Oh, Jared not quite able to get that kill onto the sloshing machine, and it looks like Synergy should be able to hold on here. Did a great job of maintaining their specials. They had a great advantage there. 2v1 in the end with ink armors available, mind you. So Jared had to back all the way off. Jared never really got a chance to go back into mid after that. Shark Boy with a 7 KA here. Not an incredible amount of high KAs from either team, but Jared was able to have a lot of success in taking out the members of Surge. That serves a dual purpose in that they're not able to pop their specials. A lot of, even if they build it up, they get moved back to around the halfway point or even more than that. And in addition to that, it gives your teammates a lot of room to just paint. And with most other objective types like Rainmaker and Tower Control, you can't just always paint and expect to win. But on this mode, blazing a path for yourself and your teammates is so crucial. I mean, having the roller is nice, having the curling bomb on it is nice to push in, but if you don't have to use it, if you can just move in through your own team's ink, that's heavily preferable. And it looks like Shark Boy had the opportunity to do that. It didn't really pan out though for Surge, and they need to sort of come back with a strategy of how to make that a bit easier for him as we move on now to Blackbelly Skate Park, which is not entirely conducive to these curling bombs because there are a ton of low walls and a ton of obstacles that stop you from being able to move around as effectively.
And one thing that I do want to point out here that you saw the 2 members of of Synergy go down to the same squash there earlier on the match. We both commented on how great it was, but they didn't stop doing it. That was their game plan, is to put 2 or 3 members in very close proximity. And so many times we saw that pressure just rotate from side to side on the map and kind of converge on the enemy's position. Just too many bombs, too much pressure, too much ink going down here. So by teaming up in the way that they're doing, you saw Jared at the end of that last game wasn't able to get a whole lot started, even though he was off by himself and in a pretty good position, because there were just too many members there to stop it.
So here we go. We are seeing the changes come out. Fritbit going to be on that Zimmy. That is a weapon with the curling bomb still. So they are going to be pushing in as aggressively as they can. Synergy, on the other hand, very comfortable with what they've loaded out with. They will be keeping the Splattershot Jr., which has already built up that ink armor, and now are going to use it to try and push forward here.
And just going to continue to paint. Why not? It's what it's good at, right? If you use a Splattershot Junior, your objective is paint. It's painting, building up specials, and control with the bombs. And Ant is doing a great job of that. 3 members here now converging over to this side. Jared is going to go down. Great positioning there by Naz. But you're just starting to see, right? The suffocating pressure is just a little bit too much for them right now.
And look at the nice pincer maneuver there. Ant had the Tri-Sloshers back there as he was able to come behind his oppressor and get the kill there. And having to back off a little bit, of course, the Splattershot Jr. not with the best range, but they are locking Surge into their spawn quite a bit. The Ink Storm did come out, so that will give them a bit of pressure. Jared going to be able to find the kill, so they will be able to push forward on this 2-down situation. Bran and Tim stuck on this left-hand side of the map as Shark Boy incredibly aggressive with the blaster. We'll get some help from Fritbit, who is going to be able to come away with the kill. And so we see this back and forth style of play going in and out here as we see Surge start to finally gain some control. And the Inkjet, again, it's not something you would think would be great for a turf-based game mode, but it is so helpful, and there's a lot of obstacles you can use to get yourself to higher ground and try and get some picks. Even without getting the kill there, he forced Ant back and gets the kill onto Bran with the final shot too, which is super crucial.
That is crucial, and you saw right there why it's so good on this map. You put out lots of obstacles here. It is a map pick rather than a mode pick. Gonna see brains just running into each other right now, effectively canceling each other out. But once again, Ant and Bran running together. We talked about how they like to bunch up, and because of that, they were able to just completely dominate that position, even though they didn't necessarily take anybody out. It was just, nobody wanted to be there. I didn't want to be there.
And, of course, we talked about the Tri-Slosher Niveau. One of the main selling points of using the Niveau over the regular variant is just the special in that you can use the Inkstorm to try and push forward a little bit. You don't have the burst bombs on that variant to get really far deep and then still be able to back out like Brand is doing right now on that splatter shot, looking for the triple as well. Not going to be able to find it. But the Tri-Slosher Niveau, if you can build up those Inkstorms consistently, they're so crucial for your team, and they provide you a lot of passive map control. We see 2 going out at once here. Naz still staying alive, and it looks like Synergy has mid mainly locked down here. Jared and Cat, 2, I guess, scared to move in a little bit. They don't have a great opportunity. There's not really anywhere that they can go that Synergy is not locking down incredibly heavily right now.
Look at this, already pushing back in, giving them no room whatsoever to breathe. Ant is back in the middle of them all right now, and this is going to be a pretty convincing victory here. The mid, very blue, a lot of Surge's side blue, and I'm glad that you said scared, right? You said too scared to go in, and that is the effect that Synergy can have on people. All of these great short-range weapons, these different slayers, Ant covering so much turf. Goodness gracious, 2,300, a great score. I know 1,000 gets added to that, but 1,300 is still a lot over the course of a match, especially a 3-minute one. These aren't 5-minute matches.
Yeah, this is not a huge map either, so there is not a lot that you can do that you haven't already done unless the enemy team has been there. So they have not been afraid to push forward into the places where Surge is grouping up and just tear through them, even with that short range and the wide spread that the Splattershot Jr. does have. And Cat even tried out the Splattershot Jr., did not have nearly the same effect. I believe they were 3rd on the final roster for Turf Inked. So for your Splattershot Jr., where you're dedicating an entire weapon slot to effectively turfing the map, that is not where you want to be. So I would not be surprised to see Cat go back to a Tri-Slosher variant, point, Jared the only one who's taking time on that team, or on either team really, to sort of think about their weapon comp or maybe the gear that they're going to be bringing in here. We now shift over to Walleye Warehouse, which is a more open map in that you do have, you know, a lot vertically to cover. And there's those two side court areas that do have those walls that you can either stick a beacon on if you want to run one of those variants of dualies, or if you just want to stick behind there and watch for anybody that's rolling down those hallways, those alleyways from spawn, because this is another map where it can be super tricky to get out of your spawn if you give the enemy team that much room.
You're going to see here the exact same composition, a very short-range aggressive composition. We spent this whole tournament talking between backliners and frontliners and splatlings, and Synergy saying, no, we got a brand of Splatoon that we're going to play here, and it's going to work. As Brand pulls a 2v1 out of his hat there, I don't know how this kid does it.
And not just that, getting the kill there on to the Inkjet user, finding another one there onto Cat, so Bran, a one-man wrecking crew, as that gives the rest of Synergy plenty of time to turf mid. And now, this early on, 40 seconds into the game here, Surge is at that point where Synergy is forcing them all the way back behind this tarped ramp in front of Naz. The Inkstorm not even close to being built up, but at this point, all they need to do is continue throwing those splat bombs to make sure that nobody can enter the few entry areas to mid that they have. It looks like they're going to be grouping themselves up on their right, Synergy's left, and Jared finally feeling brave enough to push forward, but as they get located, it's not going to be enough. Tim, already having built up this special, it's looking very, very detrimental here for Surge.
It is so hard to push back in here, especially when the enemy team has such weapons in this map. Two specials going off at the top of the screen to try to make something happen, and nothing. They got taken down on the jump pack. There was absolutely no room for them there. They're going to go down again, and after the one-man wrecking crew of Brand getting a full quad, they have had absolutely no presence in the middle. Nothing. Three of them finally go down, but Tim is still here, just kind of warding them off a little bit. They're finally going to get a chance to make something happen, but it looks like they're a little bit hesitant right now. They haven't been able to push this advantage as much as they probably could have.
Yeah, this double slosher, double close range shooter comp is really working out incredibly well for Synergy. We have seen the tri-slosher versus tri-slosher battle, and it seems like even if that results in a trade, that is much better for Synergy, because it takes 10 times more effort right now for Surge to get out of their spawn and make it into mid. So if they lose a life there, that's one of their members that could be painting in mid that they no longer have. Sharkboy trying to make use of this Inkjet, does find a target with one of the last shots there onto Tim, so that does give them a 4v3 advantage, and now they have the Inkstorm available. Again, it's these last 35 seconds that are so crucial in laying Ink down, and now Naz and Ant look like they're forming their last stand in mid. The Ink Armor does come out here, so they find one shot onto Jared, does find the second with that right-hand slosh, and Bran will go down as well. So this is a huge comeback from Surge, who really needed to get into the game, and it looks like the spark was finally lit under them.
I don't believe this. With just 15 seconds left, as long as something catastrophic doesn't happen here, they're going to get the win here, doing some cleaning up there. Sharkboy is going to continue to paint here at the mid. They're running back around, and Inkjet is out. And I think that Surge has done it, getting absolutely shellacked the entire first part of that game, but having enough presence and enough will to come back there and tie this up at 1-1. What a great response.
And Nine, you've been saying all tournament, it's these last 30 seconds. These are the only points of the match that matter. And this is the best proof that we've had of it so far. As you mentioned, Synergy, you could see the kills there very heavily favored them. But the kills are not what's going to win you necessarily these turf war games. It is about what you can do in those last 30 to 45 seconds that makes a serious impact. Because, again, Synergy was pushed that far back. They were all the way backed up to that shipping crate, which allowed the members of Surge so much more room with the weapons that they had available to them. All they could do is chuck burst bombs or splat bombs rather, and hope that it had an impact somewhere. That's not going to win you many games if you're Synergy. So Surge finally getting a handle of how to take on Synergy. We move on to the Reef, which is somewhat similar. It's a lot more of a square map, I would say, but it does give you quite a few more flanking opportunities if you want them. You can go dead straight from your spawn and go down the alleyway, which essentially leads behind the enemy team. You can go sort of a diagonal path over to where the bridge is, and you can either take the bridge or the path under it, or you can go dead to the left and try and flank around and meet the enemies at their alleyway. So lots of opportunities here. Lots of chances to be creative, and especially with the short-range weapons that Synergy has available to them, that should provide them with a lot of short-range engagements.
We'll see here. The Slosher Deco is coming out. Absolutely no change. Why would we expect anything different coming out here? But we have double buckets on both sides, and Shark Boy liked what he had in that last game with that Custom Blaster and that Inkjet here. This is another map where you can sit on top of some of those high peaks and really utilize the burst damage.
Yeah, they have to be careful on that Custom Blaster. They were sort of between a rock and a hard place. They could either back up and go into the Ink Storm, or they could go forward and face two members of Synergy that had Ink Armor available to them. And it looks like that Ink Armor is paying off here. Both buckets already down here on the side of Surge. Shark Boy going to go down. That's a full wipe on the side of Synergy. So it looks like history repeating itself. This is a very similar start to what we saw on Walleye Warehouse. Synergy taking the early advantage here. But as you can see, it's a little bit easier for Surge to find areas that they can ink and potentially jump down to. Cat is facing a bit of trouble here as Naz looking to take them out, but Cat wins the engagement, so a big opening here if they're able to get that Ink Storm out.
A crucial 1v1. You see Fritbit is going to be able to run in, trying to put a little pressure here on mid. Not going to be able to swing around here, but it's amazing just how much that 1v1 dynamic. You're seeing more red here, though it looks like Synergy has cleaned it up. What an incredible two-shot takedown from Shark Boy. Not going to be able to get Brand there for the triple, but again, big individual plays being made. That's what it's going to take to beat Synergy.
Yeah, and not just individual plays, but you're seeing there the 3v1 was able to take down a member of Synergy there. However, Surge losing two of their members, the Baller having to be activated here by Fritbit, and instead of chasing, it looks like they may detonate on this ramp here. They are able to just barely get away as the Splat Bombs try to detonate right on top of their body, but Naz with two clutch kills, and not just that, but the Ink Storm out as well, looking for the third there onto Jared, who will wisely back off and wait for their team, and Synergy once again regains the advantage. They had to use a lot of specials, but I think the minute and 15-second mark is a good time. That's about the end of when I would use my specials to have a chance of having all four back again in those last 30 seconds.
They've got to be very careful. You see, this is about the second or third time that three members have been bunched up at the exact same spot. A nice kill there on Ant's going to give them a chance to run out, but Tim just too good on the aim. Just too good on the aim. We're seeing Fritbit now going to have to pivot up to the top to meet the threat of Tim, but Naz is already back. Another two members had gone down in that scuffle, and Shark Boy's caught off almost by himself up there. That Baller's not going to receive any support and going to get pushed all the way back. They have pushed up to the bridge here, but you see specials coming in. We'll see if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, that Baller I think needed to be a lot bigger there, and Tim gets a crucial kill there onto Jared while popping their special too. So three members left for Surge, none of them really having their specials. One did just come out, the Ink Storm, and that will be Shark Boy going down. So it looks like Synergy winning most of these remaining engagements here, and Tim able to get the kill, the 180 turnaround onto Jared. Jared really did inherently have the advantage, and it really is becoming Synergy's game here in the end. A dramatic finish for them. They will go down 3 in the last 5 seconds, but again, there's no overtime present, and Synergy should be taking this one here in 4 games.
Tim got the 3 most important takedowns of that set, the 3 most important splats. Got that last one there, which of course was good for the stat sheet, but the other 2 were enough to push them out of mid. Tim was the last one up and managed to pull a double and then eventually making that a triple with that add-on at the very end. That was Synergy's game to lose, and they managed to pull it back there for a 3v1 victory and a trip into our top 8.
Important to note, no member of Synergy had fewer than 900 points turfed in that match. So you go from 900 all the way up beyond 1200, and that's not including the 1000 point bonus you get as being the winning team. So all 4 members of Synergy playing the mode in question, Turf War, playing to that strength and making sure they always had ink under their feet. That's why Synergy was pushed so far back for the vast majority of that game, is that they were unable to get a foothold here. Synergy's composition was much better suited to the map and also to the mode, and they were able to shut down all of the Ballers that Fritbit was trying to activate with that Slosher Deco. So really well done by them, and they have definitely earned their spot in the top 8.
Speaking of teams that have earned their spot in the top 8, Zach, Vitamin C has won 3-0 over Prophecy. I do not believe this. Vitamin C, for those of you who aren't familiar with that team, is a team that is very recent. Came up through the ranks of Young Inc. the now departed tournament series that was there for new teams to kind of give them a chance to experience what it's like to play teams their level. They came up through that. They've gone to a bunch of Black and Spoon tournaments, Squidboard tournaments, and now they have finally made their mark in the biggest tournament that we have seen here in the Western scene. I can't even believe what I'm seeing here. A 3-0 victory over our number 5 seed.
I think you'll remember I issued a challenge to Prophecy. I said, you're a relatively new team. You have players that have been in the game for a long time, but as far as coordination goes and being a team, you have not been around that long. So I was so interested to see whether that would have an impact on their play today. And as we've seen, it looks like it has, as they are shut out from the top 8 by a team that, as you said, has been clawing their way up the ranks, has had a couple of very nice finishes recently, defeating Elusivera, who is no pushover. And before that, had not